WrestleMania 40, the full review, both nights. Come on in. What's up, y'all? It's your boy Seth Grimes here, bright and early on a Monday morning, feeling refreshed even though I stayed up super late, watching all the reviews, watching the press conference, watching Cody fucking Rhodes finish the fucking story. The story that we've been hearing about for 2 years now has finally been concluded. Cody Rhodes has finally lived his dream, accomplished his goals of winning that world title that his father never could. His father had hands on it in the garden, and then it was taken away with the old dusty finish. And Cody Rhodes has been chasing that moment ever since. And tonight he can finally hang his head proud, hold his head up high if he wants to do that. Instead, this man went through all the odds, had a little bit of help along the way. So let's not even waste any time. Let's go ahead and get right into the main event, because that's what we're all here for. Then what I'll do is I'll go and start from the beginning of night one and go through the matches. But we'll start here, and I'm going to go ahead and give every match a heart rating, kind of like a star rating, right? Meltzer gives 5 stars, I give 5 hearts, and that's how that's going to work. Starting right off the bat here, Roman Reigns, the reigning, defending, undisputed Universal WWE Champion, defending against the American Nightmare, Cody Rhodes, who has come to attempt once again round 2 of trying to finish his story. I gave this match 6 out of 5 hearts. That's 6 out of 5, which means this match overachieved. I know this is something that Meltzer does anytime Will Ospreay wrestles in the Tokyo Dome. It's 6 or 7 stars. He likes to add another star for Tokyo Dome matches. I get all that. This is not a ranking that I have ever given before. I have done the heart ratings in the past. Never given a 6, but I gave a 6 to this one. It went above and beyond anything that I could have hoped for or asked for in a WrestleMania main event match. Now, of course, rumors were pretty rampant that this was going to be overbooked Mania, and certainly it was. And it was kind of interesting because the general sentiment seemed to be online from the fans that they were ready for an overbooked WrestleMania main event match. This has been something that has been complained about in the past. We just want a clean one-on-one match. We don't want all this overbooked nonsense. It's been complained about with Roman Reigns specifically. He has been criticized his entire 4-year run as champion for being overbooked at times. All the run-ins, all the shenanigans, everything that leads to Roman keeping his title had grown very frustrating at times at the end of certain shows for fans. But everybody was kind of the consensus that, yeah, this match needs to be overbooked as fuck. One, because that's kind of just Roman's MO, right? Like, everybody does the run-ins and shit like that. Solo's involved in every single match. Jimmy's involved in every single match. Jay before him. And now The Rock, also part of the bloodline, getting involved. You knew it was going to happen, and you kind of expected it, and you kind of hoped for it, because we were all kind of hoping that maybe Cody could even the odds. That because this is the showcase of the Immortals, the 40th WrestleMania, that maybe they would pull out all the stops, and they certainly did. Rumors of this started when there was that semi-truck with John Cena and Stone Cold Steve Austin in the background while The Rock bloodied up Cody. And that was not by mistake. Some people said it was that it was just one of their trucks. It doesn't mean anything. But then other people were quick to point out online that no, all the trucks have the WrestleMania stuff on it right now, that the active current trucks don't have John Cena and Stone Cold Steve Austin on them, or at least one of them doesn't, right? So that one was put there. It was an older truck or a prop or whatever the fuck it was, but it was put there on purpose as a hint, as an Easter egg. And though we did not get Stone Cold Steve Austin, though, it seemed like it would have been perfect, right? A perfect time for it when The Rock was out there. And, of course, we got The Undertaker instead, which worked out great. I mean, it still had the same effect that we were looking for. Star-studded, big surprises, WrestleMania caliber talents coming out to assist in the main event. Would have loved to see that be Stone Cold Steve Austin, but I'm sure he had his reasons for not being there. It just would have been so poetic, and that cherry on top to, kind of bookend yet another WrestleMania story. The endless story of Stone Cold and The Rock. Would have been nice if for one more time Rock caught a stunner, but that's literally the only complaint I have, and it's barely a complaint. It's like, how much ice cream do you want? We got all the fucking ice cream in this match. It was incredible. Starting off slow, I was kind of impressed at how they didn't really use a lot of weapons. They had the kendo stick in there, and then the chair came into play at some point. But in general, it seemed like they kind of played it safe. They didn't go over the top with the toys and the plunder. In fact, there was that spot where Cody pulled the table out very early on, and I was like, oh, this is going to be a big messy match, huh? And then Roman tucked it back under the ring, and I was like, wow, that's pretty cool, actually, and, showed some restraint in that. I love the walk and brawl through the crowd. I love, you pay your WrestleMania ticket and you get people walking right by you. There was a fun shot where they were first going into the crowd, and Roman kind of gave a fake to one of the fans, like, I'm gonna knock your ass out, boy. And that fan flinched like he flinched like a bitch. He probably peed his pants. Did you watch that guy? I wish I could show it here. I don't have it teed up or anything like that, but my God, if you didn't catch that on your next time around that you're watching this match, when they first go into the crowd, Roman fucking fakes a shot at a fan, and that fan just flinched like an absolute bitch. His wife's probably going to divorce him now, call him a pussy, all that stuff. But brought the match back into the ring, and it was shortly after that we started getting into the same old shit, right? The bloodline run-in. Jimmy Uso comes in, boom, super kick, flush to Cody's face, and it looked like that might be the end, but Cody kept kicking out of everything. He would not die. And that's what you need in a babyface, especially at WrestleMania, as a babyface that will not die. He's got reserves upon reserves upon reserves. He'll kick out at every chance, every 2.5, every 2 3/4. You cannot keep this man down for a 3 count. It was great. It was absolutely great. Jay comes in to even the odds, takes out Jimmy. They took that crazy bump off the stage. It looked a little, I don't know if they overshot it or if they landed safely or not, but it looked a little rough. My God. And then what we had the Shield. Was it Rollins that came out next in the Shield gear? We heard the Shield music and the camera was kind of panning around to the crowd. Now, we did not see Rollins come through the crowd, and we didn't really see Rollins even jump over the railing or come into the ring. At least for me, maybe I was, on my phone or something, but the way I saw it, Roman just ran and fucking took him out with the Superman punch like immediately as he stepped in the ring, and he had zero effect on anything. And then Cody was able to, and this might be out of order. It might have happened, because Solo came out next. I don't know if he was before Rollins. I don't fucking know. Doesn't matter. It was a wild fucking mess, right? Solo Sikoa comes out just when Cody's about to get another win. He got the crossroads locked on Roman again. Gonna get the win. Spike to the neck, right? Fucking Samoan spike. And Solo Sikoa drops Cody. Sets him up. Fucking pulls Roman on top of Cody. Tees him up to just win, easily. and he turns his back to it, and he hears Cody kick out at 2. And you saw Solo's face, the frustration. He went in and he beat the shit out of him more. I think maybe that's when John Cena came out, right? Rollins must have already been out there. Maybe he came out after Cena. I don't fucking know. It doesn't matter. He got punched in the face as soon as he did. But then Cena came out. And that's where I was like, okay, they were definitely, that trailer that was in the background was definitely an Easter egg teaser, right? So now I'm expecting all kinds of chicanery. But John Cena comes out, books it to the ring, and, last time we seen Cena in a WWE ring, he had his ass handed to him by Solo Sikoa. So it was apropos that John Cena would come out and take out Solo to even the odds once again between Cody and Roman. But with Cena out there now, that pissed off one final boss, The Rock. So now The Rock is coming on down to the ring, and I thought we would see The Rock again tonight, and I'm glad we did. The crowd popped huge for Cena. The crowd popped huge for The Rock. The crowd popped huge for the Shield entrance. They were just eating up everything. Yeet, no yeet, down on the floor, through the tables. It was chaos. It was absolute chaos. And The Rock came out, and he was able to get that rock bottom to stick John Cena down to the ground with a rock bottom. Cena took the bump for The Rock, made The Rock look like $1 million again. Hats off to Cena for doing that, playing that part and kind of, playing second fiddle to Rock as The Rock took him out. And this is the spot where we thought Stone Cold, if he was going to show up, man, that glass breaking right there, would have been fucking amazing. But the gong, if you can't get the glass break, the gong was probably the next best choice. Now, it wasn't as good simply for the fact that, Stone Cold's obviously the biggest star the industry has ever had. But he also had that history with The Rock, and Undertaker, I'm sure, even though he's worked with The Rock plenty of times, he never really had that rivalry with The Rock. Not the way that Stone Cold did anyway. But still, it was an Attitude Era peer, so it still made sense. And plus, The Undertaker, I've always seen as the conscience of the WWE. And I like, the Phantom, if you will. And I like that he can just kind of appear when the gong hits and course correct and set things right. Be that conscience of the WWE. When he's really needed, when things are just so out of line that they need to be set straight, The Undertaker, the conscience of the WWE, can come out and just make right with the world. And that's exactly what he did. Laid out the Rock. Rock took a great little bump for the chokeslam. The chokeslam looked good. I was a little worried about that with, Taker being old as fuck and all, and Rock is a big boy, getting him up there, and Rock doesn't, necessarily take the best bumps at his age anymore either. But, man, that looked good, and it did what it needed to do, and the gong hit again, and then the whole ring cleared out, other than Roman and Cody, and then there was Seth crawling his way up the ropes. In the finish of this match, man, after all of that chicanery, after all of that nonsense, and look, that's what WrestleMania is all about. So many people watch WrestleMania that are not wrestling fans, and especially this year, I would believe there was a lot of new eyeballs on this because of the fact that The Rock was involved, because of the fact that The Rock has been doing media in other places besides wrestling podcasts. He's been really out into the mainstream public eye shilling this WrestleMania thing. And so I think there was a lot of lapsed fans that came back to at least just watch this WrestleMania. If nothing else, watch that match. Attitude Era fans. And a lot of new fans just curious about, The Rock's coming back to wrestling. He's promoting this WrestleMania thing. He's going to be involved still. I might want to check that out. So it was perfect to do this full, homage to the Attitude Era, and then, Cena with his generation as well, but just, I guess, the faces of WrestleMania past. and to do that with like the new eyes, because when a non-fan thinks of WrestleMania, what's this WrestleMania? They think, I don't know that they necessarily picture a clean sports-like back and forth match. Certainly you want to do that in most cases, but I think for them it's fun, and that's why the Royal Rumble is such a draw to non-fans, is I think they like the spectacle of it. They like, holy shit, The Rock, I remember that guy. Holy shit, John Cena, I remember that guy. The Undertaker's here. Wow. It put the mania in WrestleMania. It was just overbooked mania, but it was great. It all made sense. It was there to even the odds that the Bloodline, just for years, the Bloodline has been using the number game to their advantage, and it finally caught up to them. And Roman was left with a choice. And he had that chair. He had the opportunity to lay out Cody, and he had the opportunity to lay out Seth. And he saw Seth there in that Shield gear. He had the chair in his hand. It was just so perfect to even the score, right? To get back at Rollins. When Rollins turned, he left the Shield, right? He joined Triple H and the corporate guy, right, at the time, and he smashed Roman in the back with a steel chair. So Roman had to get his payback here, and that cost him, because that was enough for Cody to get back to his feet, and boom, 3 crossroads. And I love how, I don't know if they just did it that way to add the dramatic effect, or if they were really just both that exhausted. Probably both. But the way Cody kind of, both him and Roman, he had to really like pull Roman up and just really had to work to get him in that final crossroads. But he nailed it crisply. It didn't look sloppy or anything like that. I thought it was a great effect to finally put that final punctuation, that final period, and just get the 1, the 2, and the 3 for our new, after what, 4 years, 1,000 some days, our new WWE champion, Cody fucking Rhodes. Unbelievable. And then everybody came out, all the baby faces come out of the locker room. We've seen this last at WrestleMania, I think, all the way back at WrestleMania 10, when the locker room cleared out and held Bret Hart up. And you saw Owen just standing in the aisle like, I fucking beat you earlier in the night, and now you're the champion? God damn you. It was great. But it was also something that Dusty was famous for. The locker room would clear out in Dusty matches when he won the big one. And, that was his style of booking. So I think that was a bit of an homage to him. Triple H said it. I don't remember if Cody alluded to it at all, but Triple H was very clear that he felt Dusty out there that night. He felt him in the ring, and Triple H, as close to Dusty as anybody, working with him hand in hand for all those years. Dusty had to, if you believe in any kind of spirituality, afterlife, whatever the fuck, you had to believe that Dusty Rhodes was in the building that night as well, watching over his son Cody, watching Cody do the unthinkable, take out the Bloodline, take out Roman Reigns, and man, that championship looks good on him too, when it was around his waist, and he is a WWE. He was the champion without the belt. It was what he famously said in a couple interviews recently about how he was carrying himself because Roman wasn't there. Now he is the champion, and I think he's I think you got to run with Cody for a while. Maybe Survivor Series would be a fun time to pull the trigger on a loss, because really, like, baby faces are not meant for big, long runs, barring like Hulk Hogan and so on. Typically, it's better if they're chasing for the title. So I can see Cody losing at Survivor Series, a big angle to kind of screw him out of the title then, to where he has to fight back for it to win it back at WrestleMania 41. That could be, but who knows what kind of run we're in for here, what kind of reign we're in for here. Triple H seems confident that he has good storylines going forward. He mentioned in the press conference that Roman is going on a whole nother story now that he thinks people will be pleasantly surprised and happy with. So good, man. I hope they got a plan going forward because, obviously the hype is always in the chase for the babyface. Now that he's got it, it's kind of like, okay, now what? Defeat a few guys that we know he will run through easily. The Backlash main event, for example, there ain't going to be anything that comes. Cody's not going to drop it at Backlash or anything. So that's always a lame duck pay-per-view, but God damn, what a match. What a match. What a match. I think, in my opinion, this is just me. I've watched all the WrestleManias. I've been around. This was probably the best WrestleMania main event of all time ever. Everything about it just screamed WrestleMania. Just encompassed the embodiment of professional wrestling. Like I said, the casual fan that doesn't watch week to week, what would he expect to see? Wrestling shenanigans, and that's exactly what we got with all of the biggest stars. It was fantastic. So now we're going to go ahead and we're going to go through the rest of the WrestleMania card. I will not be spending as much time on all the other matches, so feel safe. We're not going to drag you through hours and hours of this, but I will go through the matches here. Before we do, I want to give just some overall thoughts of WrestleMania. I thought the atmosphere, the vibes, I love these stadiums. I love the outdoor stadiums. Even though the cold weather seemed to suck, I think that will kind of, now that WrestleMania is said and done, I think that will kind of be remembered as, maybe like Frozen Mania night one, right? And it's one of those things like the Rainy Mania with Samoa Joe with a poncho on. I think 40 years into this, it's fun that some of these manias are affected by weather. If you're a football fan, look, man, I don't like sports ball, but I grew up in a household that was a Green Bay Packers fan, and I knew all too well, man, that fucking Lambeau Field and the snow and the weather conditions, it made things interesting. And though it doesn't really make an effect or a difference on the actual show itself, other than maybe people were not working as hard, or, maybe it did limit the, how good the matches were. That could be a real thing, but I think it's fun that every once in a while everybody just freezes to death. I thought Samantha Irvin, my God, she did so good. I see a lot of hate online for this girl. I see a lot of love, lots of love online for this girl too. But I do see a smattering of haters that don't like the way she gets all into it and cries and gets emotional. And like there's a picture floating around out there of her crying, fighting back tears when she's announcing Cody Rhodes. Listen, motherfuckers. Not only do, like, from a performance standpoint, the way Samantha Irvin gets into, and we are coming out of the Vince McMahon era where announcers have zero personality. They're not allowed to have personalities, and they're not allowed to stand out, and they're not allowed to do anything that would separate them from any other Joe Schmo that picked up the microphone and did it. This is the way I want you to do it that way. Clearly now she's just out there just freestyle. She's got her own way of delivering, like she does with Chelsea Green and that kind of. She's got her way of doing things, and she puts all of her heart and emotion into it. And you can see how much she loves what she's doing. You can see how much she loves what's going on in the ring. I saw a video somewhere on social media of her hanging out with those guys that wrestle in the Subway Mania. Is that what? Yeah, Subway Mania guys. And she was like putting them over. She was like, "Oh my God, I love you guys. I watch your stuff." Like this girl, wow. I'm impressed with how good she was. I'm impressed with the way that she delivered. It's such a little thing, oh, the announcer, she announces really good, but she stood out. Pat McAfee did a wonderful job as the color guy on commentary. all his little one-liners, all his little, he's talking about smelling a little weed behind him at times. There's one time where he says it smells a little funny in the air or something to that effect behind me. Telling Snoop Dogg he can say whatever he wants because he's Snoop Dogg, and that's just off the top of my head. Pat had a bajillion one-liners. He did so good. Michael Cole, my God, more noticeable on night 2, especially in the main event. I thought the way that Michael Cole called the ending of Cody finishing the story and just everything he said in that match, at the end of the match, his call over Cody's win was incredible and filled with passion and emotion. And I am so happy that we are in this new era where Vince McMahon, the old McMahonisms are gone now, and we don't have to deal with him trying to make everybody dry and boring and not stand out. Let these people have personalities. Let the commentators get over by having fun out there. And that was something that was said on social media too. I think Triple H said it in the conference or whatever, one of the nights, where he said, I just told everybody to go out there and have fun, because if you're having fun, other people are going to have fun. It's going to show. And it sounded like Michael Cole was having the night of his life. Pat McAfee was having a blast. Corey Graves was serviceable. He's, good as always, but didn't stand out necessarily to me. But those three did. Samantha Irving, Pat McAfee, Michael Cole all deserve their props. Starting back now at the beginning, night 1 of WrestleMania, the first match, Rhea Ripley defending the Women's World Championship against the man, Becky Lynch. And one other thing that I did not add that I wanted to mention about this WrestleMania in the casual observations of this was the goddamn sponsorships. The actual Prime bottle I was fine with. It was not as tacky or gross as I thought it would be. They opted for just the black on gray instead of trying to do the colored bottle that he debuted on SmackDown. And it was there and it was noticeable, but it was not noticeable when it didn't need to be. It did blend in. I think it's something we'll get used to over time. It didn't really stand out. It wasn't the eyesore that I expected it to be. But goddamn, all the other sponsors were. By night 2, I guess I was kind of getting used to it. I think this is something we will adjust to over time. But I think it takes something away to have all of these shamelessly plastered fucking sponsors over all of these big WrestleMania moments. And I think that, over time it'll just end up being the way it is. But like last year, it was only a match or a match or two on the card, like the Rey Mysterio versus Dominic last year was the Cinnamon Toast Crunch match. And it bothered the fuck out of me because here you are, you had a very good match, one of the better matches of last year's Mania, and fucking it's Cinnamon Toast Crunches everywhere in the background. And it's like 30, 40 years from now when 10 years from now when Dom wins the world title at Mania or some shit, they're going to show footage of him wrestling his dad at Mania with fucking Cinnamon Toast Crunch in the background. It just takes something away. It's tacky. It ruins not only the moment, do I think it takes something away from the moment, but the history. Imagine Andre the Giant being slammed by Hulk Hogan on top of a fucking Gatorade bottle. Gatorade was around back then, right? Yeah, it started in the 70s. Imagine that. It just would have been fucking Honey Nut Cheerios plastered on the Honey Nut Cheerios banner on the back wall. It's not the same, but I guess we'll get used to it. Rhea Ripley, Becky Lynch. I thought this was a bit of a letdown for me. I saw a lot of people enjoyed this match and thought it was pretty good. I thought it was just serviceable. I gave this 2 out of 5 hearts, which means it was just there. There was nothing bad about it, but it didn't particularly stand out or anything like that. Look, these are 2 top level elite athletes, and I think that's why I expected more out of them. Thought Rhea Ripley had the match of the night last year, with match of the whole show last year with Charlotte, and I know Becky can hang, right? You know, she doesn't suck. But they did say that she was sick. Maybe that contributed to it. Maybe because it was so freezing cold. Maybe because they were not told to go out and burn the whole house down, right? You know, save a little for the main event. So maybe that's why it wasn't what I hoped it could be. I guess I expected something closer to a 4-star or a 4-heart. Or even a 5-heart, perhaps, right off the bat. But it wasn't meant to be. I did like the finish. I loved Rhea doing the riptide into the corner and then doing another one to finish her off in the ring. I just thought that was particularly devastating and final. So it was fun that Becky stayed down for the 3. And I thought it was the right choice. I like Becky, but this is Rhea's time. It's Rhea's moment. Rhea needs these big time wins. She won the world title from Charlotte last year at WrestleMania. She needs to be strong, needs to be dominant. And now that we don't have any big long runs anymore, maybe that could be her going forward. But a serviceable match. It was okay. But Rhea Ripley, love me some Rhea Ripley. She looked great, by the way, and her entrance was fun too. The 6-team tag team title ladder match. By the way, if you're liking what you're watching or at any point in time enjoy this video, please go down and hit that subscribe button down below. Leave a comment, say hi, let's get a conversation started there. Thumbs up too if you like it. All that stuff helps me, helps grow the channel, blah, 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 blah. Tag team ladder match. This one I gave 2 hearts out of 5. Again, this was just there. There were a lot of fun, crazy, wild spots, but goddamn, how many ladder match, car crash, train wreck matches have we seen with crazy, wild, oh, he took a bump off the ladder, threw the ladder out and it broke, and God, we've seen all of this. We've seen it all. Kofi Kingston took the stupidest bump of the night. He was the only person that ran in and fed for the airplane spin with the ladder and the person on top. I forgot who Tyler Bates had above him, but Kofi ran in. Not Cody, that would have been fun. Kofi ran in and just fucking ate that ladder to the face, which was an obvious, like, hey, there's a guy in the ring spinning a ladder. What are you're gonna go run at it? I don't know. It was a very stupid spot. I thought DIY looked like shit. You know, they were fine. They worked all right, but I didn't like the DX nonsense. I thought it was pandering. And I know they're NXT guys, and I know they're partial to those two, and they're trying to pay a homage. I get it, but it's also their first Mania. They kind of looked a little bit like goofs, especially when they look like shrunken versions of the real people. And that's saying something, because Shawn Michaels is not a big guy to begin with. But oh boy, they looked like fucking dollar store DX in that match. Look, there was some fun ladder spots and everything. It didn't suck. But to me, it just, we've seen all this. The hot tag from R-Truth I thought was fantastic. That got a pop out of me. And I think, he did that in the Royal Rumble too, didn't he? Yeah, he recently did the hot tag spot, but it was perfect. It was funny. And R-Truth and The Miz won the tag team titles for Raw. And A-Town Down Under won the SmackDown titles. So apparently they're split now, which wasn't abundantly made clear at the beginning of the, going into this match, but that's what they're doing, and I'm here for it. It was fine. It's whatever. I have no opinion on the winners other than it was fine. And it made sense for me, so it is what it is. Dirty Dominic Mysterio and Santos Escobar versus Rey Mysterio and Andrade. I didn't watch SmackDown, so clearly I missed something, but didn't Rey come out and announce, like, Dragon Lee was going to be in it? And I was like, it went over like a fart in church, right? Ooh, Dragon Lee. Oh, can't wait to see that. Not taking anything away from Dragon Lee, but it doesn't scream must-see WrestleMania match, right? Santos Escobar and Dragon Lee. You know, the money is Dirty Dom and Ray, but adding Andrade to it was a step up. I'm not an Andrade fan, but he is... I think he's a charisma vacuum as far as a personality goes. But in ring, he is so crisp, so clean, so fire. Delivers so strong. There were some fun spots in this. I thought when Ray and Andrade did the double stacked cross body to the floor, I don't believe I've ever seen that before, and it was executed pretty well. So I thought that got over with me. That was good. There was also a spot where Andrade did the running knees to the face of Dom in the corner. And my God, I thought he killed that man. I thought he killed that man. Wow, what a shot with those knees. But it was perfect. It was clean. It was safe because he's Andrade and he's smooth as fuck like that. I wish this guy had a personality because he could actually be a big star. But he's just going to be a guy that can do really good stuff in the ring unless he gets himself a personality fast. I gave this overall match 2 hearts out of 5. It was just there, minus the good spots. Nothing negative. Well, 2 hearts is not, I would say 1 heart and 0 hearts are the negatives. 2 is just, it's there. It wasn't good or bad. It was just a serviceable match. I thought it was kind of forced sneaking in the Philadelphia Eagles at the end there. Why not? They're in Philly. They're at Philadelphia Eagles Stadium. It's WrestleMania. But it felt a little forced and they looked a little out of place, and it's always interesting to see when people are not trained professionals and they kind of walk into this and they do what they think pro wrestling is. There was a spot where Dom got thrown into the post and it was like there was a little hesitation there, and then in the ring they're just doing the muscle man poses with their Pat McAfee referred to as milk meat out there. Fantastic Pat McAfee, just big, giant, chubby, pale, hairy, just the epitome of an American male. The epitome of American male, right? Just fucking out there, just rocking it with the Mysterios. It was a good little whatever. It didn't, it was serviceable. Yeet versus no Yeet. Jimmy versus Jey Uso. I was looking forward to this match, not only for the novelty of a brother versus brother match, which we've only seen twice in WrestleMania history. Every 15 years, in fact. Natalia pointed that out somewhere along the way in one of these video packages I saw. And it's legit. WrestleMania 10 was a brother versus brother. And then not again till WrestleMania 25, 15 years later. Did Jeff and Matt Hardy mix it up, and then 15 years from there, WrestleMania 40. Here we are, Jimmy versus Jey, and I had high expectations for this, and maybe that's part of the problem is me. I'll put a little bit on me, but I thought this match sucked. I thought this match disappointed. It was a huge, huge letdown. It's like these guys had their entire lives to book their WrestleMania dream match, to put together their match, right? From in the womb, right? They were able to book, plot out, go over different spots that they would do. Since they were little kids, man, someday we're going to face each other at WrestleMania, after their dreams of tag team titles and stuff like that. They even showed the video of them, like, kind of going at each other in the living room or whatever. Is that what I saw? And there was little Solo Sikoa sitting on the fireplace just watching with his stone cold just fucking killer face like he has now. Still just watching his brothers go at it, right? They had their whole lives to plan what would we do if we faced each other at WrestleMania. I hope they didn't pick this. I hope they were like, how about we just throw some shitty punches and super kick the fuck out of each other, and then we'll do this cheesy thing where we think we're telling a good story, right? Because Jimmy Jimmy, oh, I'm sorry now. I'm sorry for everything. You were right. Oh, I didn't see that coming. He's going to try to, get the low blow on him. What a cheating bastard. Oh, I didn't see that coming. Oh, it was so bad. It was so bad, and it was worse that Jay fell for it. Now, Jay did recover, and Jay was able to get the win, and, got the win, I guess, on Team Yeet, and the first loss issued to the Bloodline, which I thought, Jimmy would go over because, I expected Cody to win, so I expected Bloodline to kind of get a heavy run up until that match, but this was just disappointing as fuck. I don't know if it was just the cold weather. I don't know if they're saving it for, maybe Backlash. They're going to be like a main event and a stipulation match or something where maybe Triple H told them, hey guys, you kind of hold it back a little. I know it's WrestleMania, but save some for down the road. We'll do more with you. Because it was just there. I gave this 1 heart out of 5. This was less than just This was bad. This was a bad match, and I'm disappointed with it. Jade, Bianca, and Naomi taking on Damage Control. I gave this one 2 out of 5 hearts. It was just there, but my God, it was just fun to see. It was just the spectacle of Jade Cargill's WrestleMania debut to me. I'm a shameless Jade Cargill fan. I think if you've watched any of my videos for any length of time, you've heard me talk about Jade. It was nothing but glowing reviews, obviously. Now, she did not appear to be all that great in the ring. I thought she was rushing. That's the first thing, that's what every new person does, especially when you're on that big of a stage and the nerves are getting to you and stuff. You have a tendency to just want to, I got to do my thing, and then I got to do my thing, and then I got to do my thing. So she seemed to be rushing through things just a little bit. I could have swore, at one point Bianca kind of leaned into her and told her something, maybe hopefully giving her a few pointers, helping her out. I thought Jade looked pretty dominant. I thought a lot of her stuff looked powerful and dominant, and some of it looked sloppy and rushed. So I'm not as apprehensive that she is trained up to speed. She's still got work to do there, but as a person, I just love Jade to death. When you hear her talk, when you hear her do interviews, I think it's impossible to not just fall in love with this woman, to become a fan of this woman. I think just hearing, she's just hard to hate. So her being a babyface too is great. I'm glad they got the win here. Not a good WrestleMania for Damage Control at all. 2 hearts for this tag team match. Nothing special, but Jade Cargill. Gunther versus Sami Zayn for the Intercontinental Championship match. Intercontinental Championship title. A match that was second to last. So the Intercontinental title getting a very prominent spot here. And the way that Triple H books, it's the way that he did in NXT too. He kind of does. I mean, he starts off hot, but he doesn't do the thing where he gives you a popcorn match before the main event. The match before the main event, at least, over WrestleMania weekend, seems to be the second best match of the night. And that's what I thought. Man, this match with Gunther and Sami delivered. I gave this 4 out of 5 hearts. I thought it was amazing. I love the little touches. I loved, one criticism is they did kind of telegraph it by going so heavy-handed with Sami, with his wife and kid backstage. And it's like, my God, you're going to have his kid fucking, go get him, Dad, and then he's going to lose. Oof, that would be a kick in the balls. But I actually do like that. If he did lose, I think it would have been fine, because I kind of do like wrestling could do more in the way of the agony of defeat. The thrill of victory, the agony of defeat. Sometimes you don't win the big one and you just lose. And, they did that perfectly with Cody last year. And they could have, easily could have did that with Sammy too. Sometimes he's got to let down his kid because he just can't get the job done. But then even KO were in the entrance, right? You know, that last minute he turns the corner and the fans popped for that. I love that kind of stuff though. The whole production value needs, I gave props to Cole and Samantha Irvin and Irvin and Pat McAfee at the beginning of the review here. Props to the production team too, man. All of the different shit that they were busting out. They had some new cameras, some new ways of doing things, the presentations, and the announcements inside the ring, the entrances. Some of the wide shots they were using. They really did a great job. And then just those little backstage type things and stuff really added to it. I thought that was beautiful. It really set the stage for Sami Zayn to come out. Gunther, 666 days as Intercontinental Champion. That's fun, right? 666. Came out wearing all red, nice bright red. I love Gunther's music. I love his entrance. His homies there in Imperium were wearing black suits. I thought that looked good. He came out. Gunther is one of my all-time favorite wrestlers. I love, this is almost like, remember with Vladimir Kozlov back in the day, they tried to push him a little bit as a Russian killer, and I think he ended up beating Triple H. Triple H did the job for him, maybe a couple other people in trying to get him over as a main event guy. Gunther is that guy. He's got a very dry personality, but he's believable, he's serious, and he's dominant, and he's fun to watch in the ring. We need these kind of characters in wrestling. Not everybody needs to be super charismatic and as I had criticized Andrade earlier for being kind of a charisma vacuum. I think this is different with Gunther because his presentation requires him to be a bit of a stoic just killer. And he went out there, and these guys had an incredible match for how cold it must have been. You seen how red they were getting. Gunther's chest was all redded up. Sami Zayn, nobody in the world sells like Sami Zayn. He is the best babyface seller in the business. I'll put him up against anybody. Just watch this guy just fucking sell moves and try to work his way back in the way he's able to keep the fight alive. But work from underneath. He's also the best underdog, I think, in professional wrestling. He plays those characters so well. And we've seen, Sammy can do it all. He was a great heel too, when he was an obnoxious conspiracy theorist and all that. But just this underdog, lovable, happy-go-lucky babyface fighting from underneath. Man, he is the ultimate underdog, and I'm not mad at this decision at all. I would not have been mad if Gunther won. I would have liked to see Gunther win probably still, but I'm not mad at this decision. I thought it played out great, and I just, this was a 4-heart out of 5-heart match. They didn't get to that final gear where it was just like a full spectacle 5-star, but this was as good of a WrestleMania match as you can find. Certainly the best of the entire night so far, and one of the best of the entire show. The Rock and Roman Reigns taking on Seth freaking Rollins and Cody Rhodes. I had this match at 5 out of 5 hearts. This was a banger. And this was not a 5 out of 5 hearts like a Will Ospreay Tokyo Dome match where it's the technical. Look, Will Ospreay is also one of my favorite wrestlers on the planet, and I love his matches, and he is a 5-star classic wrestler. This was not that kind of 5-star classic, but I don't believe that all 5 stars are made by good technical putting on a clinic wrestling match. Sometimes it's just a spectacle. Sometimes it's just got that main event energy. And as a tag team match too, I want to say that this brought all of the vibes of WrestleMania 1's tag team match. You kind of look at in where last year didn't, in my opinion, with Usos against KO and Sammy. It was a great match, but it wasn't where this one was. Because it had such big stars and it had the champion in it, it just had that feel of WrestleMania. Excuse me, almost burped there. Had the feeling of a WrestleMania main event as a tag team without a title on the line. I thought that was it's not an easy thing to accomplish. The Rock, my God, came out looking like a Greek god, just fucking chiseled to the max. I loved the gear that he came out with. I loved the entrance with the flaming Brahma bull. I thought that was so creative. He had did the flames before. He lit the thing on fire in one entrance one year where it said Rock. So it's, he's sticking with that theme with the Brahma bull and then him walking through it. And obviously when they show the top-down spot, you can show they kind of shut off. It was like they had a little gas pipeline going through it or whatever where they could shut off sections of it so that he could walk into it and walk out. It was just a good entrance. Then he had the People's Championship with him. He looked like $1 million. He was wearing like a fancier version of the old tracksuit that he used to wear for a while when he was wrestling in the ring. He would wear the tracksuit, which I never liked, by the way, but it was a good little throwback, and I thought that's what we were going to see because obviously he's 50-some years old. I wouldn't have blamed him if he did not want to wrestle in his underwear. But then when he took off those pants and he had the traditional Rock trunks underneath, I popped for that too. He just looked like the Rock of old. He looked like $1 million. Other than, some slight wrinkles and shit like that, when you look at him, he looked like the Rock of old. Full shape, no belly, the actual shaped silhouette, the form of the Rock. It was all there. The presence. Roman looked amazing. Holy fuck. Roman always looks good. He's always been in great shape, but he's been hiding some working out under that hoodie, man. He's been wearing that hoodie. Roman, by the way, got a Nike deal. Holy fuck. Is he the first wrestler ever, yes, to get a Nike deal? That's huge in itself, by the way. I don't know if you guys were aware of that. Roman Reigns has a Nike deal. And I think it was with Nike Air, too. Like, specifically, there will be a Nike Air Reigns version. So, unbelievable. The things that man has accomplished, Came out looking like $1 million. They carried themselves like a killer team. The baby faces, Rollins came out looking like a fucking, I don't know what the hell that's gotta stop. It's not, it's fun for like a upper mid card heel. It does not work for a WrestleMania main eventer. He embarrassed himself with his goofy outfits on both nights, in my opinion. It's not cool. It's not fun. It's not unique. It's not, oh, look at the style and the pizzazz and the pageantry. It's like, look at this goof. Look at this clown, as he's been referred to by both Punk and Rock. And then Cody came out and, did the full fucking whoa and all that stuff. I thought they would maybe want to save that for night 2, but no, let's do it both nights. Let's have some fun with it. I thought this match, it was worthy of a 5-star, 5-heart match. Like I said, it wasn't necessarily what they did in the ring, but the extra. I thought The Rock went above and beyond anything he had to do, and even Roman, Cody, and Rollins for both all having huge high-profile matches the next night. I thought they went far above what I expected, and that's why it got the 5 stars, the 5 hearts. They got that 5th one probably as soon as The Rock took the bump through the table. I was like, oh my god. He doesn't need to do this. He doesn't need the money. He doesn't need the clout. He's doing this simply because it's fun to do. And yes, he's getting paid obscenely to do it, but he doesn't need that money, so he could turn it down. He doesn't need to go through and do all these crazy bumps either. He doesn't need to have that kind of match. He could have really picked his spots, and he did, by the way. The Rock wrestled very smart in this match. I thought he looked absolutely great. You could say it didn't look like he lost a step, but clearly he did, but it wasn't like noticeable. He wrestled more. They did the walk and brawl through the crowd. I thought that was very smart. a walk and brawl, the traditional Terry Funk style, right? When you can't really go as hard in the ring as you used to be able to do, can't do all the moves and stuff, you switch to more of a brawling style. And if you can make that transition seamless and not be so obvious about it, you can add years onto your career, because now you can work a style where you don't need to take as many bumps. Even The Rock, I was noticing he was, kind of when he was getting hit, he was kind of selling, just bending over and then just walking around and selling over to a corner, or maybe selling down to one knee or something like that. But he wasn't like taking bump after bump after bump. He would take select bumps. He took them when the time was right, and I was worried about him a little bit. But then it seemed like after his first real bump, and I don't remember what it was. It happened in the ring, though. I think Cody got him with something. But after Rock took his first real bump, it seemed like he warmed up. It was reminiscent of Steve Austin against Kevin Owens a couple years ago, where it seemed like, he started off a little slow and a little hesitant or whatever, cautious perhaps. But then he warmed up, got those first couple hits in, got that bump in. It was like, okay, we're here. Let's fucking do it. I mean, he brought it. Rock in the press conference said he felt great. He was very picky and choosy about the bumps he took, but he went well and far beyond what I expected of him. Both how much he performed. I mean, look, it was a long match with he spent a lot of time out on the floor. There was a lot of smoke and mirrors and a lot of things going around this. But for a guy like The Rock, has not been in a match in 10 years. He's 50 some years old. I thought it was a beautiful. I was impressed too. He held that sharpshooter. Look how many times that Sting in his old age would try to sit into that sharpshooter and just kind of fall over. And you see that with a lot of guys that can't really hold that crisp sharpshooter. I thought The Rock, he sat in that bitch, and he was in the middle of the match at that point. He was tired and shit. He sat down into that sharpshooter, and he was in it for a good, felt like a minute or so. It might have been less than that, but he really fucking just everything The Rock did. I thought he was very crisp, very on point with everything that he chose to do. I thought all the guys went hard. All the guys worked hard above and beyond. Roman was taking bumps all over the place. Cody and Seth were working really, really hard. It was just a very impressive main event, worthy of a 5-star. It would have been a little let down if that was just all of WrestleMania, but it was still WrestleMania worthy. And I like that The Rock won, I thought, and him specifically getting the pin on Cody. It sets up so much more for the future, and it doesn't take the piss out of The Rock. He's still got a lot of juice to go forward. It just sets up so many great things. Night 2, it was a little bit warmer out. You didn't hear the commentators bitching at the commentary table about how cold it was. Fans had more energy. Stephanie McMahon came out to open up the show, and I gotta tell you, man, I popped for Stephanie McMahon. I don't know why, I don't know what it was, but I missed her. I missed seeing Stephanie. I thought she brought it with her, she did the Triple H, Are You Ready? She declared it the Paul Levesque era, even though Paul was, Triple H was very adamant that people stop doing that. But even his own wife came out and did it, and yes, she looked fantastic. Triple H said in the press conference, he's like, how good did my wife look out there? Kind of like getting a little turned on by her and shit. Steph still looks good. I thought, man, I was happy to see her. And Triple H explained it in the press conference to a certain extent. It seemed like she was maybe had kind of unsure of herself, had lost her confidence in, does she belong in WWE anymore? Are the fans, is it going to be, because look, she's the daughter of Vince. And she, was kind of tied up into that. She was mentioned in the lawsuit. She didn't do anything wrong, by the way. She was literally just named as a girl sitting at a board table going, hey, come sit by me, to the girls. So literally didn't do anything wrong. She shouldn't have even been mentioned in that lawsuit. But that's a whole nother rant. But Stephanie maybe felt like, will I be welcomed here? Do I belong here anymore? Should I be here? I'm a little uncomfortable. She was accepted. She was loved by the fans. She was appreciated. And, seemed to fit in backstage again, as Triple H said. So good to see Steph. Seth Rollins defending the WWE Heavyweight Championship against Drew McIntyre. 3 out of 5 hearts. I thought this was a very good match. I thought these guys worked hard. They put on a good little show. They told a good story. Rollins was selling the leg that he had hurt from the night before. Drew kept looking at and interacting with Punk. Punk was talking his trash on the mic. I would have liked to hear a little less of Punk's trash talk during their entrances, if only because, WrestleMania, I want it to be looked through the lens of, when they're doing stuff like this, that these moments are going to live forever. And when the first thing you hear when Seth Rollins makes his entrance for the main event, or for a main event championship match, is CM Punk calling him a clown or a goof. It's like, and he was a goof. Like I said earlier, the shit that he was wearing, it was ridiculous. But in this entrance with all the fucking weirdos coming out, it was like a Mardi Gras, but it wasn't quite a Mardi Gras. It was like a Day of the Dead, but not quite Day of the Dead. I don't know what the fuck he was going for. He needs to stop all this, unless he's going to be an upper mid-card heel that kind of shows his ass. It just doesn't work for the main event babyface guy. But Drew's entrance with the Piper homage, I know that that's more of just a Scottish heritage type, theme that is used for more than just Rowdy Piper. But in the wrestling world, that's an homage to Rowdy Piper. So it was great to get that, and they knew what they were doing. That's exactly what it was. It's great to get that at WrestleMania. Punk said it was he remarked about how that was not cool. I forgot what, I'm blanking on the word. Look, man, I've been going along here, but Punk didn't like it. He took offense to it. Great serviceable match, but it was what happened in the ending moments that made what this match was here. Rollins took the L. He lost to Drew McIntyre. McIntyre got the win, but then McIntyre had to rub it in the face of CM Punk. And this is where the magic happened. McIntyre gets his win. He has his moment. They give him his moment. His music plays for a long time. He gets to hand the title to his wife. He gets to celebrate. He does all of that. Apparently, he tweeted during the match, too, which is fun. He tweeted, bored at work, LOL, which is hilarious, by the way. Drew's killing it. Drew is one of my favorite people now. And I hated Drew for a long time. I thought he was boring and overrated, but he's killing it. He's killing it. And he could not let it go. He had to go rub it in Punk's face. Hold the title up. Even saying, get a picture of this. Come on, I want to hang this on my wall, right? And Punk busted out, similar to his t-shirt line on Raw. He's like, I ain't never won a title and heard the crowd chant another man's name. As they were chanting for CM Punk. McIntyre still talking his trash, standing on the table now. Punk sweeps his feet out from under him. Drew takes a huge bump on the table, gets his ass handed to him, a few shots to the face, and then he gets that arm brace. Punk takes it off, lays out Drew with the arm brace, stomps on him, puts the boots to him. This was beautiful. Because then we get the cash in. Damian Priest running down with the fucking senior Money in the Bank. Coming down with the cash in. And you see Punk look up and he looks concerned at first. And then he's got a smile on his face. Like, oh yeah, this is beautiful. And Drew gets thrown in the ring. He gets the briefcase to the face to add to his bad luck. The choke slam south of hell. And that's it. New world champion Damian Priest gets the cash in. Good for Priest. I'm kind of, indifferent on Priest, so I don't really have an opinion either way. Whatever, good for him, I guess. He gets his WrestleMania moment. But the booking of this was beautiful. This was a beautiful story that was told. This was one of my favorite stories going into WrestleMania and still continues to be. This is fascinating. It's engaging, right? Like, you're glued to your seat watching this shit. And the fact that Drew, he was criticizing Seth Rollins the whole time for being distracted by Rock and Cody and Roman and all that. And he was. And it was probably, you could tell the story, what cost him, right? His leg, he had the bum wheel coming in. Obviously, Drew would have been the fresher man. So Rollins has that claim, he wasn't 100%, but it was really Drew that was distracted by Punk. He's criticizing Rollins for being distracted when Drew is distracted, and it cost him. And they were able to give Drew his moment, give him the win over Rollins, but then give Punk his comeuppance for all the shit that Drew's been throwing in his face and screw Drew over. Priest gets to take the title. Now Drew had that feud between Punk and Drew even more personal. Now it's a fucking blood feud brewing up. Punk can't even go yet. And they've already built this thing that we need to see this match. Boy, when he comes back and he faces Drew, that's going to do huge money. So Punk doesn't get hurt when that happens. But this was incredibly, I was geeking out like a little kid. I gave that match, the championship match itself, 3 out of 5 hearts. But I give that angle, a good 4 or 5 hearts out of 5. It was fantastically done. So good, so fun, well played, good storytelling. AEW, hey, AEW guys, that's storytelling. It's not, hey, I want a match to get a title shot. It's that's storytelling. Pay attention, take notes. We had a 6-man tag team street fight. And this was Bobby Lashley and the Street Profits taking on the AOP, the Authors of Pain, and fucking Karrion Kross. This was, I gave the match 2 out of 5 hearts because it didn't, it was there. It was serviceable. It did its job. Nothing stood out about it other than Bubba Ray fucking Dudley. I popped for Bubba, of all people. It was fun to see Snoop, too, by the way. Popped for Snoop, but then Bubba? That was so random, but it, fit because they were in Philly, ECW, and then also it was a hardcore street fight. So it did, and it was a tag team match. So, really, who better than Bubba Ray? But it was a surprise I wasn't expecting. And just see Bully out there doing his thing, man. I listen to Bully regularly on Busted Open. I'm a fan of Bully, and it was really fun to see him kind of get a little moment and a pop there too. But other than that, there was nothing to write home about in this tag team match, and it probably shouldn't have even been on the show to begin with. Other than, Bobby Lashley, I think, deserves a spot, but none of these other guys. I'm sorry, Street Profits. I know people think very highly of Montez Ford, and maybe someday, he'll get there, but he doesn't impress me all that much. And then, the other tool in the group wearing his fucking gym shorts and shit. Look, Kevin Owens can wear gym shorts and a t-shirt out to the ring because it's Kevin Owens, and it just fits him. But nobody else, anybody else that does it, they look like they're schlubs. They look half-ass. Gym shorts are not wrestling gear. But, other than that, it shouldn't have been on the card. Let's go ahead and move on. LA Knight, taking on AJ Styles, the phenomenal one. I don't like AJ's new theme music. I thought his old one was a banger. I know he's got this new kind of heel, darker character and stuff, but... And I know you want to kind of accent that by switching up the music and stuff, but sometimes you just leave well enough alone, right? It was a good fucking, he's got a good theme song, good banger. They don't want none. They don't want none. They're scared, but yeah, I mean, come on now. But, you know, is what it is. This was a serviceable match. I gave this 3 out of 5 hearts. It was, you know, better than just but it didn't like set the world on fire or anything like that. But it was good to see LA Knight get a one-on-one match at WrestleMania, get a little bit of that shine, get a little bit of that spotlight, and get the win. Logan Paul defending the United States Championship against both Kevin Owens and Randy Orton. This was a fun match to watch. I thought we were maybe showing our hand that Kevin Owens was going to get the win, when just like the night before when Sami Zayn was going out to face Gunther and KO was there and then Sami won. We saw Sami there when KO was on his way out, and I thought, okay, so these guys are going to both hold the mid-card titles and a bro hug at the end or whatever. But that was not to be, so I liked that little bit of a swerve there. I liked the entrance on the golf cart from KO, and then when Orton was coming out, I actually loved that KO backed up, picked up Orton. You could see Orton, they had a platform for Orton to stand on, and he had handlebars and shit, but you could see KO floored it. He hit the gas. They went down that ramp so fast. You could see Randy, I saw him put his hand out like to kind of like, hey, slow the fuck down, dude. He almost died. I think the commentary team said that KO almost killed him and Orton on the way in. You could see Randy, even as he got off the cart, he was just like, wow, you know, so it was funny. It was fun. And look, these guys have been at enough WrestleManias where they can do something goofy like that. I typically am not a huge fan of, like, again, kind of the same comment about Punk talking over the McIntyre and Rollins entrances. With WrestleMania, that shit lives forever. So, you know, I think everybody should kind of get a grand, not necessarily the full pomp and circumstance, but get a nice entrance and stuff, a WrestleMania-worthy entrance to the ring. But, you know, when you've been at enough of them, KO, this was his 8th. I could tell by his shirt. He does the meme shirt every year, you know, where he makes a meme out of the WrestleMania. So this was his 8th Mania appearance. So he had KO Mania 8, and it was great. It was fun stuff. Logan's entrance was a little goofy with the Prime stuff, but Logan's goofy. You know, social media influencer. I think... First of all, I think everybody's on board with Logan Paul at this point, right? Like, we all can clearly see how good he is in the ring. There were a couple holes in his game I saw in this particular one, but this was also his first triple threat, and they're a little bit weird and wonky to work with anyway. But he was in there with 2 pros that could lead him around and guide him to something really, really good. But Logan kind of has his shenanigans and everything, and he has his haters because of that kind of stuff, but I assure you, he's doing such good business for the WWE. My kids are they're young kids, you know, they're preteens, and YouTubers are the thing. Like, Logan Paul came out, and then the guy in the Prime bottle was, it was Speed? I Show Speed, that guy. I thought it was going to be KSI. It was I Show Speed. I've never heard of this guy in my entire fucking life. But apparently he's a big deal, and I double checked it with my kids. I said, hey, I Show Speed, who's this guy? And they're like, oh, he's just, you know, the biggest streamer in the world right now, basically. You might have thought it was PewDiePie. It's not PewDiePie. That shit's old. It's I Show Speed now. And apparently barking is his thing. That's like his gimmick. So when he barked at Orton, that was, you know, who's this weirdo guy in the Prime bottle barking at Orton? It seemed like such clown show shit to us older fans who might not know what we're even looking at right now, which was hilarious when Orton, kicked. I don't know if this I Show Speed guy he pushed Orton, right? I don't know if he was pissed Orton off. I don't know if he did something too hard or wrong or whatever, but it seemed like he got the full wrath of Randy Orton. He kicked him all the way across to the other side of the outside of the ring, and then put his ass through the table with the RKO before barking in his face. But I assure you, I checked with my kids, and this guy's the real deal. And so for people my age that may not understand why or whatever, it's for the youth. It's for the kids. The kids pop when they go, oh my God, it's iShow Speed at WrestleMania. Like, that's a thing for them. And it's the kind of thing that Logan Paul brings to the table, being the social media influencer. I think a lot of people, and look, I've made comments about this online, social media before, and I get LOLs and stuff in the comments, and that's fine. You can be dumbasses if you want to, but Logan Paul having the United States title, and I was surprised he kept it, by the way. But more of what he's doing, I think, is to come then. He's out there, doing videos on social about trying to trade the U.S. title for the Super Bowl ring around Super Bowl time. He's got it. He carries it with him everywhere he goes. It's sitting on the table right next to the Prime bottles when he does his podcast every week. And he has a whole entire audience that is not a wrestling audience. He shows up to his brother. I promise you, mark my words, okay? Write this down right now, but just a little sticky note on your fridge or something, that when Jake Paul faces Mike Tyson, Logan Paul will be there, and he will be holding the United States Championship title. Remember at the last fight that Jake had, Logan, he flew from SummerSlam directly to Jake Paul's fight, still in his gear. Insane. So there's nothing but good here with Logan Paul keeping the U.S. title. Orton doesn't need it. KO doesn't need it. And like Logan or hate Logan, you can't argue that he is a phenomenal performer. That frog splash, they showed a replay of that frog splash. That might have been the damnedest frog splash I've ever seen. I don't know that anybody has done a better frog splash than that. Got more air, more hang time, more pump to it than fucking Logan there. Just wow, just nailed that shit. And he's going to continue to represent the WWE in a whole new demographic that they're used to, that they don't necessarily get to hit. And it's a beautiful thing. Whether you like it or not, it's great for business. Bayley versus Io Sky. Bayley finally getting her comeuppance, finally getting one over on Damage Control, finally getting her moment at WrestleMania to hold up the gold for the first time ever at a WrestleMania. This was a phenomenal match. I gave this 4 out of 5 hearts. Thought this was the women's match of the entire show. I thought these two killed it. Thought Bayley sold like $1 million. She was really looking great out there. Selling that leg, convincing us that she was, fighting from underneath. I thought Io Sky was killing it out there. She was nailing those springboards and those drop kicks with precision, and she was really showing the difference between doing it as just kind of being a spot monkey, doing high spots and shit, flippies and springboards and stuff like that, and really was using it more as just her attack. That was just her style. She was just beating the fuck out of Bayley for a good part of the match. Bayley fighting from underneath to come back up and get the win the women's title over Io Sky. I thought it was a great finish, and I thought it was well deserved for Bayley. It was the right direction to go. And back again now to the main event of night 2, just to kind of cap off with some final thoughts here. Again, a 6-star, 6-heart match above and beyond. This was arguably the greatest WrestleMania main event of all time. One of the funnest WrestleManias overall. I had a blast with this year's WrestleMania. It was so fun. It was to me, it was a love letter to professional wrestling. The Triple H era just shows signs of different things that I think are going to be so refreshing, and this is really going to continue to hurt AEW, by the way, because they're going to continue to lean in the direction, everything that fans resented from Vince McMahon and the way he did things, right down to, like I said, the personality list of commentators and announcers, and his whole style of presentation, the way that he would do things with the banning of the pro wrestling. We heard the words pro wrestling so many times this weekend. It's just a beautiful thing. I thought the booking showed intelligence. It had a lot of good payoffs, but also they've been saying the story never ends, so to speak, and they really kind of, even in this the tag team main event from night one where Roman speared The Rock and the crowd just they ate that shit up because they knew that could turn to maybe The Rock turning on Roman or something. It didn't happen, but we know how these things work, and that was the start of a tease. I thought Rock just looks great in everything that he did. I think it worked out. They had to pivot. They told this story. They've pretty much come out with it now and just fully come clean that, yes, the original plan was Rock versus Roman, but we changed it because of the fans. The fans insisted. And that's something we might not have even had under Vince McMahon. Vince has been known to just say, fuck the fans. I don't care what the fans think. They'll like what I tell them to like. But the pivot was a wise choice, and it made for a more interesting, we got this heel Rock. We got the final boss character is a new character, inspired by the old heel Rock from the Attitude Era, and it's glorious. And we're living in this whole new time, this whole new era, and this was the kickoff to that new era. And I'm fucking here for it. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with me. Please like, follow, subscribe, all that shit if you liked what you watched. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. What did you agree with me on? What did you disagree with me on? Let's have that conversation. And what were your overall thoughts on WrestleMania? Night 1, Night 2, in the can, WrestleMania 40, the biggest WrestleMania of all time ever. And we here as fans got to enjoy it together. Peace, love, and pizza. I am your boy, Seth Grimes, and we'll catch you in the next video.